Hello and welcome back to FatbossTV. Today we're having a look at the Hellfire Assault in the Hellfire Citadel on the 6.2 PTR.
Yes, this is the first boss that you'll be fighting, and it has got its own unique selling point. Is that you don't actually know when the trash ends and the boss starts, which is a little bit sad. But yeah, it is the first boss in the instance, and unfortunately it's just really dull to play against. Like, I don't expect like the whole world to explode and it be amazing, cool, wow on the first boss of the instance. Like, it's supposed to be Babby's first boss, but this has kind of gone a little bit too far, you could say. It's pretty much you kill ads and you kill these siege vehicles that spawn, you collect their ammo, put it into a giant cannon that will eventually blow down the door, and that's the fight.
That's it.
Yeah, it's kind of like Galacras, but without Galacras at the end of it. So it's a little bit disappointing. However, we do need to go through it because you do need to kill it. And there is like a lot that you do need to know about this fight, like how all the ads work and stuff. So I guess we can have a look at that.
So just as a quick disclaimer, this is not a guide. This is just a little PTR preview for you guys to show you how the boss works and how it may end up working on live servers. If you are looking for a guide, that will be released on the first week, so look out for that. There'll be a link in the description of this video, and there'll also be a link somewhere in the comments. And also, just to note, this is heroic footage. We actually did test this boss on Mythic as well, and it was a hell lot better on Mythic, so yeah, it's not all bad news, but yeah. Anyway, let's go in and let's talk about this boss.
Now, as I said at the beginning of the fight, the whole idea of this encounter is to defend and arm two giant Hellfire cannons at the back of the encounter area. And throughout the fight, waves of ads will spawn and try and attack the cannons, as well as you get 4 different types of siege vehicles, which will also try and destroy your cannons. And this is bad, because if you ain't got any cannons, you can't complete the fight. Now, when you kill a siege vehicle, again, it will drop some ammo, you'll carry this ammo to the cannon, and it will then fire it at the main door of the Citadel, and once that door is destroyed, the encounter is over.
Now, at the beginning of the fight, there is actually a mini-boss called Siege Master Marak, and she is actually the lady that gets in the Iron Reaver for the next encounter that's followed shortly after this, which is pretty cool. So you don't actually kill her off in this, she will actually just disappear at 50%. However, she has got various abilities and you do need to know how they work. She has something called Howling Axe. This debuffs various different people, and once the debuff expires, she'll throw an axe at them which deals a large amount of H damage to them and also to anyone within 8 yards. So the idea is you get the debuff, you move the hell away from everyone else. She also has a shockwave, which is a little bit odd. The animation of it is just tiny circles.
It looks like there'll be spikes coming out of the ground or something, but really it's just showing you where the shockwave's going. It's just a weird way of doing it.
Yeah.
So just be aware, if there's little circles, just move away, you'll be hit and it's bad.
She also has an aura that increases the amount of damage that all the ads deal by 10%, and this aura gets stronger throughout the fight. So as you can imagine, because this whole fight is to do with ads, you kind of need to kill her off quickly, because you don't want this aura to get too strong.
Now, as Loz said, Marak will actually leave the encounter area at 50% HP because she'll be getting in the Iron Reaver, which is really cool. But we found if you just pop Lust at the beginning of the fight, as well as you use all your CDs on her, you can really quickly take her out of the encounter, so you can just focus on the ads, because her and the ads can be a little bit chaotic, so just remove her out of the equation as soon as possible, and the fight actually chills out a little bit at that point.
So apart from her, throughout the encounter, you'll get massive iron balls that are launched towards your raid team, and ads will spawn out of them. You'll have Iron Dragoons. These guys don't really do anything apart from just hit the tank, so we just sort of AoE'd them down just passively. You'll get Contracted Engineers. These guys will just set up bombs in an area that will explode like a couple of seconds afterwards, so just make sure that you move away from it. They'll also do something called Conducted Shock Pulse. This is just a chain lightning effect that will just jump and stun any nearby targets. So you've got to kind of make sure that you interrupt this, really. If it goes off, it's just irritating. But they'll also do something called Repair. This will make it so they'll just run towards a siege vehicle, and they'll just start healing it up. And the amount that it heals is pretty damn scary. So this is probably the most important thing about these engineers. Make sure you interrupt this, make sure you stun it, make sure it doesn't happen, and you'll be absolutely fine. But again, these guys kind of passively got nuked down as well, because they don't really have much health either.
Now, something that won't really be passively nuked down is something called the Hulking Berserker. This is pretty much your tank ad. They do have like an AoE slow that does a little bit of damage, which is kind of annoying, but their main ability is something called Slam. This will just hit the tank, dealing some physical damage, but it'll also increase the amount of physical damage taken by the tank by 30% for 15 seconds, and this just stacks up and up and up. So just make sure your stack doesn't go too high, either by taunting, or really, if your DPS is kind of focused enough on them, you can kill them off before the stack gets too high. However, there is one other ad which is way worse that you need to deal with, which is the Gorebound Fellcasters. Now, these will spam cast Incinerate, which just does a little bit of damage to whoever they happen to be targeting. Just interrupt it, it does hurts a little bit, but the main ability that they do is something called Hellfire Volley. Now, this will deal damage to all players within 50 yards, and It doesn't do too much damage. However, when they get a little bit lower in health, they will transform into a new ad called a Gorebound Terror. And these terrors have 30% increased damage, 70% increased movement speed, and you can't CC them at all. All they will do is spam cast Hellfire Volley, and with a couple of these up, it does so much damage to your raid. So it's super, super important that as soon as these do turn into these terrors, you need to nuke them off as soon as possible. And really, you probably want to use a healing cooldown if they don't die quick enough, because it is doing so much damage to your raid, and there isn't many other points in the fight where a healing cooldown will be as effective as then.
So they're all the ads you need to deal with. However, there are some siege vehicles that you also need to deal with. You'll have to deal with flame belchers. All this siege vehicle does is just drive about, stop in place, and then just start spinning around, sending out balls of fire. These fireballs hurt a lot. You need to make sure that you move from them. And really, to be honest, providing you move from the fireballs, this siege vehicle isn't really that high on damage priority because it doesn't really do any damage to your cannons whatsoever. Now, the Crusher siege vehicle will drive straight to your cannon, and it will deal any damage to anyone that's caught in its path. And there's also some orcs on the back with flamethrowers that will just deal any damage to anyone who's nearby. So if you're a melee and you're trying to kill this, you're going to be taking quite a lot of damage from these flamethrowers. If it does reach the cannon, it will start taking out the health of it very, very quickly, and the cannons can't be healed, and again, if the cannons get destroyed, the fight is over. So this is very, very bad. So when this one spawns, you just need to blow it up before, you know, it destroys your cannon. Now, the artillery siege vehicles will come bursting through debris on the far sides of the room, and they will just spam artillery blast on your cannons. This is just a massive ranged attack that does a lot of damage. These siege vehicles don't really have too much health, so you need to make sure that you kill them off super, super quick. But ultimately, you can't really kill them without your cannons taking a tiny bit of damage, because, you know, you can't instantly kill them, and they do pretty much attack the cannons straight away. So it's kind of a race. You need to kill the siege vehicle before it does too much damage to your cannon. And the last potential siege vehicle that you'll see is the Demolisher. This guy is very, very similar to the Flame Belcher. He won't actually do any damage to the cannons, not directly at least. All he'll do is cast something called Siege Nova, which will just mark certain areas of the room with a bunch of little mortars within a circle. And then that's followed up by a massive mortar. And the amount of damage that mortar does, it depends on how close you are. So the closer you are, the more damage it takes. The idea is when this big circle comes in, everyone moves away from it, and it does damage to everyone in the entire room pretty much. There's no way of avoiding that damage. And the big mortar damage also does hit the cannons.
Yeah, it's only a little bit, though.
It's a bit minor. It's nothing really too much to worry about.
Now, as I said, when any of these siege vehicles die, they will drop an ammo box, and it's just a giant green translucent box thing. And when you right-click on it, you'll cast in it for about a second and a half, and then you'll get a debuff showing that you actually have the ammo box. This will do slight ticking damage until you deposit the ammo to the cannon, but you can get to the cannon super, super quick because you get like 100% extra movement speed for like 9 seconds. So not only can you get there, but you can get back super, super quick. And really, the ticking damage doesn't matter too much. It's kind of, I guess, to deter you picking it up if you have no health left or something. But generally, if the ammo's on the floor, pick it up, run over towards any of the cannons, either cannon, it doesn't particularly matter. It will then just automatically take it from you and start firing it at the door.
And that's pretty much the encounter. I think you need, what was it, roughly 12 ammo boxes that was needed to destroy the door?
Something like that.
Something like that. Anyway, but yeah, that's the encounter. So, what do we think?
The thing is, it is Babby's first boss, and you do have to take that into account that it's not supposed to be the most complicated boss in the world. It's not supposed to be the boss that you're going to be bloody progressing on all night. It's supposed to be a 1 or a 2 shot, and it is very easily going to be a 1 or a 2 shot. But the thing is, it doesn't stop it from being... to be honest, it's a fairly boring fight in terms of what you actually do to play. Like, in terms of your play, what you do is you focus down the correct ad. And if you're being a whore, you AoE down all the ads and just hope that someone else is doing the right thing. And you'll probably get through it fine. Yeah. And that's a bit of a shame, to be honest, because it looks like they put so much work into this. Like, the animations of the way the ads spawn, they come out of giant cannonballs. The way that some of the siege vehicles come in, they come through, like, bursting through all this debris, and it looks really good, but it's just really fucking boring. Yeah. And it's sad. But the thing is, this fight on Mythic, we did do the testing of this on Mythic, and it did feel a lot better. It definitely felt like a first Mythic boss, which is a lot better. It's just a shame that, of course, this is early on in PTR, so as I said, by the time it comes live, it could be completely different, but for now, it feels a pretty weak fight, to be honest.
I'd agree with you. But thank you very much for watching, guys. If you did enjoy this little preview, then please do drop us down a like. It helps us out a lot. And if you'd like to see any of our other PTR previews, then you can click on the link in the description. That'll take you straight to that playlist. You can see all of our videos there. And we will see you on the live stream.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.